If you had the opportunity to ask the leaders of East Asia any question, what would you ask them?
I think I'd start by congratulating the Chinese for the incredible progress they've made in becoming a world leader after being sort of a third world country, and ask them, give them the incentive, how they achieve so much in such a short time.
If you could ask a world leader of East Asia a question, what would you ask?
When is China going to take over the world?
If you could ask an East Asian leader one thing, what would you ask them?
First thing I'll ask them is what they know about Pakistan and can they improve their ties with our country or not? Because we're actually looking for leaders, Asian leaders, to tie hands with our country so that we have more support in our area.
You mean Pakistan?
Yeah, Pakistan, because we're from Pakistan.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You're Pakistani Americans?
No, we're Pakistanis. We're just here for a few months, then we're going to go back. We applied to, we're all actually budding medical students, budding doctors. So we plan to work here, do our training here, and then go back to Pakistan and serve our country. So we just want more support from all the Asian nations for Pakistan.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
I just don't know when you're done. So.
Has Pakistan done anything for East Asia?
Actually, we used to have. We actually right now we have very good ties with China, and they are very. They've been supporting us since many years. So we'll just like probably other countries nearby also to support us. That's all that probably we need right now.
Great.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
If you could ask a leader of East Asia one question, what would you ask?
I'd ask them about how their child labor works and all that, and even some of their slave labor. That's about it. All right, thank you.
If you could ask an East Asian leader one question, what would you ask?
Yeah, I would ask about their child labor laws and how old a child has to be to work there, and if they still promote child slavery.
Good questions. If you could ask a leader of an East Asian sorry, my fault. If you could ask a leader of an East Asian country one question, what would you ask them?
I would like to ask, for example, a Chinese leader, why are you still persecuting Christians in mainland China? And I wonder what would be the answer to that.
It's a great question. I don't know why either.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
If you could ask a leader of an East Asian country one question, what would you ask?
I would ask, where is your favorite place to visit in your country? Yeah, okay.
If you could ask a leader of any Asian country a question, what would you ask?
I would probably ask what his or her opinion is on Americans.
It's a good question. I wonder that too.
Probably, yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully you feel good about us.
Yeah, I would hope so.
If you could ask an East Asian leader a question, what would you ask?
I would ask what their take would be on abortion. That's it.
If you could ask an East Asian leader a question, what would you ask?
I would ask, how come there's so much persecution in the world?
That's a good question.
But what else? What can we do else to get it going? I mean, what else is there to, in order to get it an answer? What we need to do?
Right. In a powerful area like East Asia, they should be able to help us with stopping persecution, right?
Yeah, very much, for sure.
If you could ask an East Asian leader any question, what would you ask them?
Why are your people so smart?
That's a great question. They're smarter than Americans, right?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like statistics, it's always like they're good in math and every other subject. And I feel so like ignorant like compared to them.
Do you think it's genetics?
I don't know, it could be.
Or maybe it's the way that they do things in China?
And probably that too, like their culture and everything, how they handle things like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
If you could ask the leaders of East Asia a question, what would you ask?
How do you get your people to stay so fit? How do they stay so slim? It seems hard to do for Americans.
You're right, it does. Do you think they use our food pyramid?
Maybe they just use chopsticks. So.
That must be the trick, huh?
Yeah.
If you could ask a leader of an East Asian country a question, what would you ask?
Question for East Asian leader? I guess I'd like to know, it's a tough one. I guess what their plans are for the future, like if they're making current changes, like what's the ultimate goal that they have for the future, and what they want their citizens to experience.
Do you have any dreams for the future?
Yeah. Like things to be a little more, well, I'm from Ohio originally, and coming here I've seen how the city layout has really helped how, transportation, and everything seems very organized, and I would really like to see that spread farther than just this area, especially around where I live, where things become more congested.
Mm-hmm.
Just that orderly sort of feeling that comes from having.
Do you think that East Asia is becoming congested?
I'm not sure how to answer that.
I think it does expire.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
All right, thank you. Hi, we've been asking people on the street about the new globalism. If you could ask a leader of an East Asian country a question, what would you ask?
I'd like to know how they're going to lead industry now that they seem to be getting our jobs. I mean, jobs out there, it's not really job flight, it's like the kind of wages they get there are very crappy from what I hear. They're like below survival. How are they going to take charge and like reform industry? That's what I'd want to know.
So it's China's responsibility and Asia's responsibility now?
About as best as it can. They're a lot like us in like the 19 and 1800s, on the rise. It's always kind of cyclical, so I guess it's their turn. Hopefully they do better than we did. But,
Did you lose your job?
No, actually I didn't, because I'm in IT, and that's one of the few things we kind of still do on our own is problem solving and all that sort of thing. So people still want to speak to somebody who is like a native English speaker, so I guess that kind of comes in handy. I guess that's the kind of jobs we still have is like the high-level problem-solving jobs. So, like that's why I think we should be getting into green stuff, because we could sell it to other people, but nobody else seems to think so.
When I talked to my cell phone carrier last month, it was somebody from India. What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty natural, because those are the cheapest people at this moment. They're the ones who can offer the most market-wise. So that's just tech support, and that's because they say, oh, free tech support, and they can say we have the best tech support, even though they don't, because you only know when you actually get to use it. So, the kind of stuff I do is more like technical, instead of like, oh, well then try option C, So, that's where we still have a future, is like, still like on the leading edge, if we can keep that edge. But yeah, I still have my job.
Okay. Well, I hope you keep it.
Me too.
Thank you.
No problem.
If you could ask an East Asian leader any question, what would you ask?
I would ask, how does it feel to be a couple years away from surpassing the U.S. in the economic, race, being a superpower of the world and stuff? I would ask that.
Do you think they're the main superpower?
No, but I heard that in a couple years they will be, that they're getting up there in the Industrial Revolution, race and stuff. So.
Why do you think they're doing so well?
I don't know. Maybe they have less strict child labor laws. Maybe labor's cheaper down there. So maybe and on top of that, we're having problems with the oil, and we're at war, and they're not. So.
Sounds like you think they're more together than we are.
Yeah, pretty much. So. Pretty much it.
Thank you.
All right.
Here we are in Chinatown, asking people on the street questions about the the World Economic Forum. Here we are in Chinatown, asking people questions on the street about the World Economic Forum. If you could ask a leader of any East Asian country a question, what would you ask?
North Korea. Are nuclear weapons really necessary for war?
You think North Korea has nuclear weapons?
I think so. Yes, I think so. It's what's his leader's name? forgot his name.
Okay.
But yeah, I was wondering if they're actually a real threat of nuclear war with North Korea.
Are you scared that they might blow us up?
Well, I mean, from a distance from Pacific Ocean, yeah, I think we are. It'd probably be a threat, especially if you're closer to the coast like California.
Okay. Okay. We're asking people on the street to respond to the new globalism. If you could ask a leader in an East Asian country any question, what would you ask?
If I could ask any question, I guess I'd probably have to ask about why they continue to do such a faulty communist kind of system with their country that seems to be failing so terribly with everyone, and why they've adopted capitalist reasons into putting it into their communist factors.
So you don't think capitalism mixed with communism is a good idea?
No, I don't think the way that they're mixing it is a good idea. I do not think it's working out for the people in Asia, China specifically.
What would you suggest they do instead?
I would suggest, if they want to stick with communism, to what has obviously never been accomplished, is to go with a solid communism. If they're going to try and get it to work, stick with what it was implied to be at the start, I guess. Or just pick one, I guess, just the mixing and the... They say that they're communists, but they adopt such capitalist factors.
Okay, thank you very much. If you could ask an East Asian leader any question, what would you ask them?
Well, I'd ask, China's gotten a lot of criticism for their currency controls. I'm going to wonder, when are you going to completely float your currency?
If you could ask a leader of an East Asian let's just wait till they pass.
Music! Blooper reel.
Okay. If you could ask a leader of an East Asian country any question, what would you ask them?
Well, China's been criticized quite a bit for their currency controls and not floating their currency. So when I would ask the leaders of China, when are you going to completely float your currency?
What do you mean by float your currency?
Well, countries have a fixed exchange rate as a peg to the US dollar or a basket of currencies. So, and that kind of makes artificial controls on their currency, making it artificially high or low, which gives them an advantage or disadvantage. But the freest markets is when you actually can trade that currency on an everyday basis. So China's been criticized for having their currency undervalued, which makes their products cheaper than they really should be, which is good for their export sector, which is bad for the import sector. So I just want to know, when are they going to do more domestic demand and actually help that sector of their economy and actually float their currency for the rest of the world and let the rest of the world be able to trade their currency?
That's a great question. Thank you very much.